Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
The Stand-In, new movie on Netflix starring Drew Barrymore as both the star and the stand-in. She plays a Melissa McCarthy character. It's actually literally referenced in the movie that she is an actress that is competing for roles with Melissa McCarthy. She's supposedly like this big, almost like Adam Sandler in the 90s, that kind of like giant comedy star. But her one hook in all of her movies is that she's slapstick. She falls down a lot, which is also something Melissa McCarthy does. So Drew Barrymore is playing this character, this famous comedic actress that's tired of being this kind of pigeonholed into this thing, even though that's her whole identity, is this career that she's built. And she's going down the kind of just the drug and alcohol kind of self, destruction kind of path. And her stand-in, also played by Drew Barrymore, is given an opportunity to kind of take her place in reality. She wants her to go to rehab for her, and then of course it goes from there. You can kind of see how this movie goes. There is like a love interest in this film. Overall, didn't really care for the movie. I never really cared about anybody in the movie, despite the fact that I think Drew Barrymore did a good job doing both of these performances. I think she kind of fleshes out that they're two different characters. They feel like two different characters. The camera work and everything, trying to, make you believe that they're in scenes together. Well done. Everything's well done. It's not as much of a comedy, I would say, as a little bit more of a drama in aspects of it. But I don't really like anybody. I didn't like, the star that she plays, that's going on this binge, and she's tired of her life. It's like, and she lost everything, right? Because she was, trying to ruin her life and never paid taxes. So it's like she's lost everything. She's not taking any work, but she wants to live this different life as a woodworker. And my whole thing is, do it. Like, there's nothing stopping anybody from changing their life if they don't want to live that life anymore. If you lose everything, you have the opportunity to start new doing anything. Or if you're a wealthy actress and you want to just retire from Hollywood, then, maybe take care of your money better or whatever. But it's like, so I don't really care about this star that's like, even though I would relate to somebody who has the desire to be something else, they hate their job, even though a lot of people want to be famous actresses and whatever, I can understand how that kind of life, being pigeonholed into being a slapstick, fall down clown all the time, might get a little bit wear on you a bit. But it's like the complaining and like the difficulty she has at like letting go, even though she's not doesn't give a shit about acting anymore. And then you have the stand-in, which you kind of feel sympathy for because she loses her career when Drew Barrymore's character is no longer working. When the star of the film's no longer working. What is the names of these people? Candy and Paula. Oh, I guess a couple people play some different roles. And I can't remember which one. I can't remember if Candy is the actress or if Candy is the stand-in. It doesn't matter. I'll refer to them as star and stand-in. But the stand-in loses her career because the star's no longer working. And, she looks like her. I mean, she could easily be just go out as a lookalike. But, of course, there's this kind of ridiculous plot to have her stand in to go to rehab. And, like, if she goes to rehab, then the star says that she'll go back to work. Which I don't. I mean, it's like I don't believe. The movie's also kind of trying to talk about cancel culture, and how like horrible cancel culture is to movie stars and just other people. But I didn't really, I wasn't into the movie, so any messaging the movie was trying to give me, I wasn't into. Especially one of the characters. There's a specific moment with the love interest of the star. Met this guy through a woodworking, online woodworking thing, and he doesn't know who she is. She's never met him, but of course he comes into the scene. Um, and there's of course a little love mix up with the stand-in wanting to date this guy for some reason, versus the star. And you find out that this woodworking guy has been canceled in the past because there's a picture of him that went viral of him pissing on on the Holocaust memorial, I believe in DC. If that's where, there's probably multiple memorials, multiple places, but I think the big one is in DC, I believe. I don't know. Wherever it is, this guy had a picture of him peeing on the Holocaust memorial while doing a Sig Heil, right? And the stand-in's never seen it. She's looking at it. She's pretending to be the star, and she's looking at it, and it's a picture of him pissing on. You don't see the picture, but he's trying to describe that he was drunk and he was just looking for somewhere to pee, and the memorial's really dark, and the reason why his hand is doing that gesture is because he was falling down. And it's like, this movie is really trying to get me to sympathize with a guy that pissed on a Holocaust memorial while doing, I mean, the coincidence of somebody getting photographed accidentally peeing on a Holocaust memorial while doing a hand gesture that would kind of explain the reason why you're peeing on that memorial. Like, to try and have that as a, something that's taken out of context, and that's supposed to like somehow be a thing against cancel culture. It's like, dude, if there's a picture of you by accident doing those things, then yeah, there's no other thing that people are going to, like, you fucked up. Maybe you shouldn't be out drunk peeing on things in public, because you're not supposed. Maybe like you should take responsibility for your actions a bit. But I think, like, it's this movie. It's a fake thing. It's like this fake thing that happened in this movie universe where he's trying to. But it's like, it really feels like this movie sympathizes with famous people that have their eye, that are in the public eye and get canceled or whatever. It really feels like this movie has the back of like white supremacists that are taken out of context. Like, I'm supposed to feel sympathy for like, white supremacists that are getting quote unquote canceled. Their hate crimes are going viral. So like, that took me out, and that's something that happens like later on in the movie, because a lot of this movie is like, the stand-in falls in love with she goes on this apology tour. She loves the attention. But then when she gets to actually having to do the acting, she hates it, because being falling down all the time for a career isn't necessarily fulfilling to a lot of people. But then she falls in love with it. Like, everything's like, there's this like big, like kind of big things that it could be talking about. This movie could be talking about. And then it just kind of resolves them in this like simple way that isn't very, it's not satisfying at all. Not satisfying at all. TJ Miller's pretty good in this. He's toned down. He plays her agent, which is nice. I kind of enjoy TJ Miller in certain things, but it is nice to see him toned down a bit. And even him in that character, in that role, like, he's had issues with, quote unquote cancel culture. So I think a lot of this movie is like the writer and director or whatever. The reason this movie was made is, I think, people trying to combat cancel culture and try to show that it's a bad thing. When in reality, I definitely think the fact that cancel culture applied to artists is a little bit different than it applies to like politicians. Like, every politician that's done anything horrible, it should be exposed. Like, especially if they're, doing crazy shit. If you're a white supremacist, yeah, you should have some fucked like that. You believe in some fucked up shit. So I don't have any sympathy for your personal livelihood being messed up because a ton of people find out how absolutely horrible you are. So I don't care. Like a lot of what cancel culture can be framed at, if you are standing from a different perspective, you could call it justice. Rapists getting canceled to a lot of people is justice. Politicians being canceled for sex trafficking is justice. But trying to cancel somebody's career because they take a knee to protest the fact that cops are killing innocent citizens in this country that happen to have an excess of melanin in their skin, like that's cancel culture. That's fucked up because that's taking away his First Amendment, where he is taking a stand in his job to make a message, and then his career is completely, as opposed to somebody, he's not like he got canceled from Twitter. Like he's doing it in a public space with himself. It's not a contract dispute where he said something that went against Twitter policy and he gets banned, right? That's not a free speech issue. That's a contractual issue that people have when they sign up with Twitter. But to have your career ruined by all these right-wing racists because you're protesting the murder of innocent citizens in this country by a government-funded organization known as the police force, that's more detrimental. I don't care about some guy who like mistakenly peed in public and accidentally peed on a Holocaust memorial while accidentally throwing up a hand signal that signifies the person that slaughtered all those people, and then trying to somehow justify that and make it okay. I don't agree with. So there's aspects of this movie that I thought were good, but it went in directions that I didn't agree with. Performances by Drew Barrymore was pretty great. But yeah, overall, I didn't like this movie. Had some problems, kind of boring, not funny, and it is what it is. I had to give it a shot. It was rated really well, but there's a lot of people that like to watch bad content. But if you are interested, it's on Netflix. It's called the Stand-In. Check it out. I'm sure there's a lot of people that will like it. It didn't click with me. Get yourself some cell phone service that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg over at Ting. Go through my link, inspireddisorder.com/Ting, and get yourself $25 in credit that you can apply to a new device or to your service. If you already have a phone that you love, you could bring that phone over. They support all the major networks. They support all the major phones. It's an amazing service that you pay very little for what you use. They have great plans, so get started now over at Ting by going through my link, inspireddisorder.com/Ting, that's Ting, and get yourself $25 in credit today. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com, and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!